Has your opinion of Kyle Shanahan changed after this latest undressing of Sean McVay?
So I said Kyle Shanahan, I ranked him I think I was being too generous. I ranked him a B plus coach. I think he's probably a B coach. Has my opinion changed? I think he's probably a B. I said B plus. He's probably a B coach. No, it hasn't changed from beating the Rams for the 8th time. He always beats the Rams. Nothing has changed with that. I want to see Kyle Shanahan spread the ball around a little bit more, and I want to see Kyle Shanahan not risk injury with his players late in the game. And so one game is not going to change my opinion of Kyle Shanahan. What's going to change my opinion of Kyle Shanahan is when he goes above, starts winning a lot of games, goes above 500, develops a high-powered offense, shows us that he can win the big game, doesn't give up 10-point leads in the playoffs or in a Super Bowl. Those are what's going to really change my opinion of Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, those are good points. Also, last week, I was talking a lot about the assistant coaching staff, and I was making the point, like, the reason this offense can't be saved by Christian McCaffrey, and the problems are bigger than personnel, is that, the chief game planner is gone and Mike McDaniel, and a lot of these position coaches are really struggling. So when they come against a team they don't know that well, their game plan, their adjustments are not good, like Atlanta, like Chicago, like Denver. And so in this last game against the Rams, the Niners know how to beat the Rams. They do. And it's all they had to do was like Xerox previous game plans. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but that Christian McCaffrey touchdown pass, I mean, they ran the same play with Deebo Samuel week 18, and it worked then too.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rams still haven't adjusted, and that was less than a year ago. So I think the Niners are really smart. Like, let's do a lot of the stuff against the Rams that have been working the last 3 years. I mean, that's exactly what you should do because the Rams haven't proven that they can stop any of it. But now they're going to have to face the Chargers in a couple of weeks. They got 2 weeks to freaking prepare for this. Brian Greasy, all these 2 weeks to prepare for the Chargers. You don't know much about the Chargers. Can you get this done? Because they got to. If they're gonna have to go through Philly and Buffalo and all these teams to win a Super Bowl. Like, you don't know these teams. Can you actually put together a good plan without Mike McDaniel against teams that you haven't? Because they could just go back and look at the Mike McDaniel notes from last year, right? They could do that, but you can't copy his work now on the Chargers. So I'm curious. That's my question with Kyle. What about when you and D'Amico too? What about when you go up against a team you don't know well? Because we've seen that so far this year.
And if you think Kyle Shanahan's an A+ coach, if you think he's a genius, just open your mind a little bit. I'm just asking, go watch the Kurt Warner breakdown of Kyle Shanahan's offense. That should at least open your mind somewhat. If you go into it open-minded, you'll see, like for instance, I posted on Twitter, I called it the 5-yard Hail Mary, where Jimmy Garoppolo threw an interception from the 5-yard line, looked like a Hail Mary pass. And then below that, I wrote, I don't like the play call or something like that. I didn't like the play call. And everyone's like, you're an idiot, Ryan. Jeff Wilson Jr. is wide open. But here's the thing.
Yep.
Kyle Shanahan is Jimmy Garoppolo. We know who Jimmy Garoppolo is. The original reads pointed out by Kurt Warner, they weren't really good routes. They weren't really good options. And as soon as they're closed, you can't expect Jimmy Garoppolo to look to the other side of the field when a blitz is coming right on his face. So that his red zone offense has been bad. And that play call, even though it was Jimmy's fault for throwing that interception. He should have took a sack. Kyle Shanahan didn't give him a lot of good options. It's really hard to throw over your line.
That was interesting.
When you get blitz, yeah.
A lot of times, people point that out, like, oh, so-and-so should go here. You can't. What Kurt Warner said that was so interesting is you can't turn away from pressure. You can't. You have to throw toward a free rusher. That was interesting. Man, he's really good. You learn from him. Yeah,
it's almost like Jimmy needs an out on both sides of the field. He needs he needs a short out on both sides of the field. You can't just expect him. Yesterday he had time, so he did a really good job of that. But when the pressure's on, you can't expect Jimmy to look to the other side of the field and hit an easy out.
Yeah, I like what Warner also said about sliding away from the 3 receiver side. That way you could have your hot route on the 3 receiver side. That was hella smart. Yep. I was like, man, this is great. I'm not even a coach, but if I ever become one, this is money. So what Niner Matt was talking about, he was talking about Jimmy Ward. Just money's going to get tight soon with all these players under contract. Maybe his injury history will lower the price. He's not coming back. The Niners are all about comp picks. And to get comp picks, you have to lose more free agents than you sign. So this guy's gone. I like Jimmy Ward. He's gone, and the way they're treating him shows it. I mean, they are costing him money, but I don't even think they're counting on bringing him back.
I think the 49ers know he's gone. I think Jimmy Ward knows he's gone.
Yeah. And I think that's probably why there's some less than great feelings, because it's like, well, we were on the same team for a while, but now it doesn't feel like it, right? Now I got to make business decisions. Now you're making business decisions, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Lil or Stewie says, do you think CMC is going to be a Jimmy fan, or will he be willing to work with Trey and Brandon? Who knows? Who knows?
CMC seems like a really cool dude, man. Like a really professional, not emotional, really level-headed, really smart guy. And I think he's going to work with whoever's here.
Yeah, and let's see how the season ends up.
Yeah.
The Dark Azrael says Mike M doesn't deserve the number 69. Let him go. I just can't take him seriously with that number. You know, it's like, oh, that's like an 8th grade joke. Hilarious. So funny. But it's not as funny as your play.
Oh.
Mike M, I'm sorry. Tommy Huxley says Niners 50, Raiders 15. The Raiders are hilarious. That's a bad team with the coach they should probably fire right now.
Yeah.
We know he is who we thought he was. Niner Nation for Life says Niners remind me of the 80s, 90s teams in the AFC that had good players but almost never won the Super Bowl. Just seems like quarterback play.
Well, your most important players are your most important people on the team is your head coach, especially if he's an offensive coordinator, and your quarterback. And so, to me, those are quarterbacks the weakest player on the offense, maybe outside of Mike Levinci. And then Kyle Shanahan, I have mixed feelings about. So that's my hesitation too.